All right. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be watching this. Welcome back. This is Blair Armstrong with Team Armstrong in beautiful Indian Wells, California. And I have my favorite special guest today, Marcie Madain.
Yay!
Good
morning.
Yes.
After the big haboob.
After the big haboob. We got hammered last night.
Oh, my gosh. It was awful.
Right? For people who do not know who will be seeing this, because we're basically all across the United States and a little bit across the world, which is the last time I checked, which is awesome. A haboob is an amazing
sand wall of sand that just hammers your patio and your furniture. I don't even know. It's like you got to wash that down like 3 times.
I went out to the car this morning and I couldn't see out, and all of a sudden it's just like snow. It comes up over the top.
Yeah, it's a mess. Really a mess.
So Marcie Madain.
Sir, yes, sir.
You can look at me.
Oh, hi.
It's okay. So we're going to have fun today. So this is Marcie's first time on here. Where we've had a lot of first timers on here, which I really love, but it's different. So remember, every time that I do these things, this is super organic. She's doing it. You're not. So give her some credit for being on here in the first place. So
thank you.
Super glad to have you. You've been in a relatively, I'm going to say this, but you're a little bit of iconic vibe throughout this desert. You have a lot of great connections throughout here. You've opened up some great businesses. You have a pseudo-famous husband, but we're going to not talk about him today.
Okay, good.
We're going to talk about Marcie Madain.
Thank you.
So kind of give us some background. Obviously you have some great relationships throughout this desert. You know a lot of great people, not only here, but actually even over in the beach cities.
Yeah, it's been a great journey. I mean, the desert is just so unique in the sense of you can, write your story here. Right. I feel like you can just, wherever you are in your career, your business, if you're coming into real estate or you're going to come and open a business, it's a very welcoming place, and it's a place where you can truly, sink your roots. And that's kind of what I moved here in 94 from Colorado, threw all my stuff in the car with my little dog. Yeah. Just without really even a job, and just kind of never been to California. So the desert's been a great place. Back then, it was just hardly anything compared to what it is now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I started my kind of path in the hotel business, got me here, and then phone book ads.
Is that right?
Yeah. Sold Yellow Pages.
It was,
God. Yeah. I was part of that sinking ship.
Hardest job ever.
It's kind of a hidden gem because that's really what built a lot of what I feel my success has been, just with business in general. Right. Sitting across a desk from a guy that lays the best tile, that can't balance his checkbook, to the top attorneys that are doing these personal injury cases and learning about their businesses and how they, what made them successful and how do you cherry pick the best customers, and just learning all the things they did wrong. And I just feel like that built me a great foundation, just not having been a business owner and going right into business. It'll be 10 years in April.
That's right. So for those now, you're going to have a lot of people here that know you. Now you also have a lot of people that from my side that don't know you. So Marcie Madain is more than her business, but what does Marcie Madain do? What business do you own?
So I own a fresh juice bar.
Yes.
And it's an organic juice bar that I started, like I said, 10 years ago. My daughter was going into 3rd grade, and I was a busy mom.
Yeah.
I was working, full time. My husband's working full time, and there's just nothing healthy to eat when you're on the run. No. I mean, literally, like if you have your kids in the car, if you're not, going to go into a grocery store and, get some cut fruit or vegetables, you're really limited to fast food. Right. Just literally just garbage in the car because you're driving everywhere all the time. And, I think we've all that have kids know that. And so, we were kind of up at the beach and had been going kind of to some places. And I was like, I'm on this sinking ship.
Yes.
Phone books or who has a phone book today?
Isn't it weird when you get them now? You're
I actually throw them away. I'm so embarrassed. Like I literally made a great living for, 20 years as a, like doing phone, advertising sales. But, my husband was like, this is so great. And I'm like, we really need something like this in the desert. And just to kind of go through the like little kind of path that it was. And we started talking about ideas. And I always knew like, if you're going to start your business, you got to have the web, your web domain kind of match that. So you're not like, something different. People can really follow up and stay on before social media was was even there.
Right.
And so we were like, oh, fresh juice bar kind of came to mind. Came back, went on a hike to the Bump and Grind with one of my good friends, Sharon George. And we went to go, get a coffee at Starbucks. And she's like, hey, what about this place for your little idea that you had?
Right.
And made a phone call. And like in 2 days, I had a lease before I even had a business plan.
What location was that?
That's Palm Desert.
That's Palm Desert.
Yeah, right on El Paseo, where Jay Russell used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, had a lease. The guy was kind of family business. Had almost a lease on a handshake, if you can imagine that happening today.
During the right time, right?
Yeah, the right time. He knew my husband. He's like, I know who you are.
Sure, you're good.
I'm like, great. And then just kind of went to my kitchen and wanted to, just make some recipes. And we really were doing green smoothies.
Yeah.
At home for like almost 10 years. I would like go to your doorstep and Blair, and I'd be like, what? You're not trying? I would leave you something there, giving them away at drop off for years. And then we just shaped something that was really clean, and different. It's crazy because people will come from like New York City, like they'll come from LA, they come from, all these amazing cities that have what I would think to be everything under the sun. And they're like, your place is just so great and different. And I think it's just because it's all clean. Like there's no sugar. And that was the other thing, like childhood obesity kind of was just kind of coming up where kids were, not eating right and getting heavy. And, you see these little kids that just, that totally, don't know. And the parents don't know, So I thought, well, you know what, if I could change a life, help a person, keep the world more healthy and make it delicious, here we are.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
So for that's again, I know that most of you, well, some of you that will see this, there's probably a lot of us that we have intertwining friends and intertwining connections through social media. But with things that the people that don't know her, she has actually 3 locations in the desert. She has one in Palm Desert, one in Rancho Mirage just off of Cook and Monterey, and another one in La Quinta by the Trader Joe's out in La Quinta.
And Palm Springs.
And Palm Springs. I forgot Palm Springs, so I apologize. So 4 locations, so it's great. So for those of you that Fresh Juice Bar, and I'm going to say stuff, so this is on me. This is not going to get you in trouble. She is God's version of Jamba Juice and Nectar. And I'm just going to put it out there because the reason is that there's so many different selections. You actually get to make what you like in your smoothie instead of having a preset menu. And I think that's one of the things that was really drawn to me from that, because obviously we've all been into smoothie bars around the United States, maybe around the world, whatever it is. But there's something, she hit something that I really want to go back and say that it's a special moment when you walk into a Fresh, because first of all, their employees are actually outstanding, always have a smile, super grateful, really helpful for, especially if it's kind of your first time in and trying to figure it out. So, but again, and I've told Marcie this a bunch of times, is it's you go in there and you can kind of build your own, and they're really open to some different ideas. And I actually think you've had some customers create smoothies for you that you put on the board.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, totally. I'm always like, someone's like, I didn't have time for my green smoothie today. And we're like, what do you put in it? Let's do it. Yeah. And so, if somebody's behind, and I love hearing that people do it at home. Yeah. Like that's great too, and I'm like, go to my menu, go to our website,
right?
Just grab those ingredients and blend them up or juice them up. And, it's great because when you say like, you want people to feel important, you want your customers to feel important. So always, and hopefully they do. I'm like, we have to greet every person that comes.
Scoot over here real quick. I'm going to lose you just a little bit. Just
there we go.
Come to me
gotcha.
a little bit. Sorry about that.
Gotcha. Beginner.
No, you're fine, and I don't want you to cut you off. But keep going on to that. For that, I think that's a big thing. Is that it is inviting and it's not intimidating when you walk in there, and that's what I really love, because there's so many businesses, especially when the first time you're coming in here, especially the first time if you're coming from out of town, which this is our valley. We are the land of snowbirds. It's getting less and less of that. But you're coming in the first time. It's a little intimidating. You get this big menu.
There's 43 items. It is a little bit intimidating. You're like, hey, let's just group it down. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Do you need a meal? When are you going to eat? Are you starving? Like, are you needing some protein? Did you just finish a workout? Are you, looking to detox? And then also, it's really hard, honestly, to be the boutique juicery that I want to be in today's, labor sort of environment. Labor is really kind of one of your biggest expenses in the food industry, and sliding over. There you go.
I'm going to fix you while you're talking.
Sorry.
Keep talking.
Yeah. So it's just, having everything made to order. So you might go to other places and you might see, oh, all the juices are made, but I feel like, what's going on? So today people have dust. We're all like, our sinuses are like literally, really a mess from this dirt. And, our booster shot's perfect for that. Ginger, turmeric, lemon, apple. That actually helps clear out your sinuses and get a little of that inflammation down that you might be experiencing. So if we aren't making it to order, somebody might be, oh, I love that, but I'm allergic to turmeric. Then I guess they couldn't get it, right? So we just make everything to order, and we love to shape something around like what you like or what I like, and we have the people who come in and be like, "Do you have the razzleberry?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, but we have organic berries, and we make our almond milk from almonds and water, and there's no additives. It's all super clean." And they're like, "Well, I've never had that before."
And then like, yes.
And then I'm like, try it. And really, if someone does come and they're like, never had a green smoothie, it's exciting to introduce them to that. And then say, like, take a drink of it before you leave and make sure you like it. Like, we don't want you to get in the car and be like, oh my, like, what is this sludge?
Yes.
And they're like, oh, it actually tastes way better than I expected. It looks like horrible.
It looks different, right?
Really, well, the green smoothies, they end up kind of brownish green, that's just because of the berries.
And I think with the berries and obviously the spinach and the chard, and your kale that go in that you put into that. And also I think which I really love about the green smoothie is that lemon.
The lemon
that you go in there. It really kind of,
little zing.
There's a little zing to it, but it kind of ties everything in together. It's really weird. It's because you can kind of taste it, but it gets rid of the chard. It gets rid of the kale, that taste that we typically get, or you see that. So yes, I've walked in with your smoothies and people, what is in that? I'm like, oh, it's my lunch today.
Yep. It's a cup of love.
It is a cup of love. And then you got these amazing acai bowls. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Acai bowls.
Some people say acai.
Acai.
We answered anything. Acai, acai.
You have a green bowl and all these different things, if you haven't had one of these bowls yet, and I've lost myself off camera here for a little bit too, but if you haven't had one of her bowls yet, you have to go in and get one of these things because it is. Usually go in there so hungry, and I always get the large, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't need to eat for 2 days, and it really is. I mean, we like to get the large, but I'm just saying, if you get the large, break it up in 2 meals, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, it is, and it's only like $2 more for the large, so it's like, come on, spring
just
for it,
get for it,
just
right?
go for it.
Some different things,
and it's not heavy though, too, so you don't feel like super bloated, like big pizza lunch. Who doesn't love pizza?
Everybody loves pizza, but this is a better alternative for sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this business, and when we're not even close to being done, because I'm having such a good time talking to you, is I kind of want to know this question in this world of business ownership.
Yeah.
Woman being a business owner. My wife is a business owner. She has a boutique on El Paseo. She's cutting her teeth down there. She's getting left and right hooks right now. But a woman starting a business today, why don't you share, if you feel comfortable with this, share us what kind of hurdles you had off the beginning. And then again, we understand the background, kind of the support you had in the back and some powerful women that you had behind you as well. But what were some of the struggles that you faced kind of coming up in this world, non-corporate? I mean, you are the corporation. But that's what I'm saying. There's no Jamba Juice Corporation.
I tried. I actually emailed Nectar and I said I'm interested in a franchise, and they never replied. I'm actually glad that they didn't because I got to do my own thing.
I love it.
Which kind of opened that up. But yeah, I think as a woman, really like there's a lot of negotiating that goes on right out in the business world, and I don't think. One thing for sure, and my husband's kind of helped me with this because he's his background is just born to negotiate everything, and he's always he's from the Middle East.
Right.
I used to be his sales rep. Trust me, I know.
Okay,
but just going to bat for your business, for yourself, for your pricing too.
Right.
Negotiating, and really, there's a lot of it's not a men's world necessarily or man's world, but a lot of those higher level people that I tended to have to go through were, we're men.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really expect to, it's like they kind of say like, oh, if you're a tough businesswoman, you're a B word. You're not tough, you're not strong, you're not respected, but man, that girl's a B, I'm not going to say a cuss word on here, but, and it's kind of a fine line to like be, pushy and advocate for yourself and then still be respected and not thought to be just somebody that's just, out of line, business wise. I was always, the leaders that I was brought up by in my old business were mostly men, and I had a great experience with working with men. And I feel like having a sales background too, you kind of have to begin a conversation with the end in mind, right? So if I know where I want to go and what I want to get,
good.
you just got to be smarter than the other person, so if you can enter into that and be like, okay, who am I dealing with here? You got a really cocky guy that wants you to kind of blow up the ego, then you got to, I don't feel like I'm taking a backseat. I feel like I'm smarter. I feel like it's a better way to do business when you can approach something in a way that is going to be effective.
Such a good, if you guys can go back and listen to that last minute and a half, so absolutely good is that know who you're talking with. Yeah. Know your client, but it also is the same thing is be prepared, right? Yeah. Be prepared when you're walking in there. So again, knowing all that part. Also in the same sense is not being intimidated, because everyone's basically the same. Right. I'm just doing them.
You have to think that way. Yeah. I mean, not everyone thinks that way about themselves or about the business world. How could I ever go and compete with Jamba Juice? Right. If you put fear in front of yourself, you've already failed. I mean, is it going to work? I had no idea. I had no business plan. Yeah. I had nothing. I went and I read a lot of Yelp reviews about different juice bars and what people liked and didn't like. And I was like, okay, clearly people don't like XYZ. They don't like this environment. They don't like this. And then here are the things that they love about it. And then I'm like, how can I take little pieces of everything and just put the perfect recipe together, like quite literally for a business plan?
Oh, God, that's so good. Just so good.
I have one other thing that I live by.
Because I just think, especially women, either younger women or older women in business, this is just golden nugget after golden nugget of just really there. And I'm actually going to put you out there. If someone is starting a business and doesn't matter actually who they are, because I think there's a lot of women that can help men and vice versa, but also women do kind of feel intimidated going into the business world or trying to kind of break it on the right now. And I really think there's a revival coming for that.
Definitely. I think it's natural. Right. I think the path of least resistance is to be a little fearful and timid. Right. Just as women in general, we kind of, we're always doing everything for everyone else. Right. Oftentimes. If you're not connected with her, I promise you that if you reached out and had say, hey, give me one golden nugget, which would help me get to the next level to own my business, I'm sure that Marcie would share that with her. She's been as I said, she's been a big part of this desert for a long, long time. I love that. She's right. I do. And I actually, people that have opened juice bars actually in other places have come and explored the store and talked about it. And they're like, oh, what did you do? How did you do that? And I'm like, here's where you got to start. Right. You got to just, you got to jump in. You got to just do it, because I think you can talk yourself out of everything. Right. Right. If you think about it too much, don't think too much. Just keep going forward. Just take that next step. And I think that's a big thing too, is that's a great thing. What you said too, in some different words, is do it and then figure it out. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I think one of the things I've always felt that was one of my strengths is just being like quick on your feet, something happens, you got to be ready to pivot. Like you can't be making changes in your business like a cruise ship. If you got to make a U-turn in a cruise ship, it's going to take some time. Yeah. And by that time, you might have missed your mark. You might have missed your opportunity, missed whatever it was that you were trying to accomplish. Right. And to be able to make a decision, first of all, that's what you have to make that decision. Then you just have to follow through with it and stay on top of it, because making a U-turn in a smart car is going to get you there a lot quicker. Sure, right? For sure. I think that's great. Yeah, I know. It's been kind of a crazy few years, to be honest. It's just things are a lot different, and the hiring environment's different. The supply chain situation was just really like, what do you do when you can't get cups? Like literally at one point it was like, I remember this. We cannot get cups. I'm like, what are people going to do? And the health department's not going to let you bring your cup from home. I mean, of course it's good for the environment, but like, was that washed. We're not bringing
right.
Yeah. So
you had cup issues. You have food issues from all sorts of things, certain ingredients that you couldn't get for a little bit. So you had to kind of adjust stuff on a menu or not have, like, I can give you this, but it's not going to have that. So it has been a journey. And I think that is something that, and you worked through it. It's tough. You've had so many different obstacles over and again, is Marcie the only business that has had obstacles? Absolutely
everyone.
not. And she doesn't know this. This whole talk is like, hey, here's a business owner, and not only just in this valley, but this resonates all across the United States, all across the world, realistically, is you're not the only one going through this, and we're all having the same things to it. But now we're just, hey, we're sharing our pain in a roundabout way, knowing that keep scratching, it'll happen.
And hopefully people will give some grace.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what our customers gave us, a lot of grace because, there's some things that are completely within your control in your business, and there's some things that are completely out of your control. And it's very easy mentally, it's like this mental gymnastics that you go through, like, oh my God, like what's coming tomorrow? It's just like, okay, you're just cranking that Jack in the Box, waiting to see what pops up in your face. And you're like, okay, so all right, what's coming next? But there were a lot of things, and some things never came back. Like some things we just had to completely pivot off of, that with the supply chains and just changes. And, you can see it at a higher level when things are not available to us as consumers, that, and it's just, and for small businesses, I feel like it's just so much tougher. And people are like, why is it so expensive minimum wage is up and we can't pay minimum wage, or we won't get the best people. You just don't, and you got to take care of your people. That's your greatest asset.
Yes.
Truly. And I'm eternally grateful. I literally have young adults that, people always say to me, how do you do it? How do you do it with these millennials and these young kids these days? And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's a little different. The approach is a little different, but what I found is I don't care if I have 18-year-old, young adults like supervising and running other people and, doing a great job, like that. You're happy, right? You've been there.
Yeah.
And,
but how empowering is that though? Knowing that like, especially when you get those, and you and I had a little brief exchange on through social media the other day, is you get those special ones. Yeah. And it's fun to watch them blossom and to kind of get it, because there's actually tremendous opportunity. Maybe it's someday is running. Maybe they run a fresh juice someplace else in the United States, someplace, you go back to, we never know what.
Oh, they're all like, open in San Diego. We all want to move to the beach. I'm like, yeah, can I go?
I have a couple of agents like that right now. It's like, when are we going to open one of these Team Armstrongs over in San Diego? I'm like, start doing $100 million a year, so we're good.
Yeah. But the thing about it is it's the most fulfilling to me to see when you take, these young kids, young adults, let's just say 16 to 25 is probably our wheelhouse mostly. And you give them some responsibility. You teach them, right? You oversee them. Right. And then you empower them to execute, and you praise them. They flourish. They grow. They're good. And so many of these young adults that, 10 years, they have learned. I want them to learn. I'm like, the only person that's going to retire and die at fresh is me. So take the next year or two while you're here, and let's grow and let's learn about a business. And when you go to your next job, you're going to be so much more valuable. You're going to have so much to bring to the table. And I love that. It's like, I'm like, fly,
right.
Go do your thing.
You're kind of like your kids.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like your kids.
You're like a family.
You're family, and they're there, and you have that. So again, I'm going to go back to is what we said this earlier. Is it's like walking in there is just, you're always greeted so well. And one of my favorites at your Palm Desert store, super dark hair. I think she had a baby a couple months ago.
Oh yeah, Viviana.
Yes. She's just so cool.
Her brother Esteban used to run the Palm Springs store.
Okay.
Then he moved to Chicago, and then Jasenia, the other older sister, ran the Palm Springs store. Viviana came to work there. Erica worked there, and Angel. I'm like, can y'all have some more kids? I love the Bonilla family. They are amazing, and she's so great. She just takes it right to the heart, and she told me, and this makes me happy too. She had 2 kids during the time she's been with me, and she came back to work, and she probably doesn't have to, but she's like, I really like coming here. I like coming to work. Some of the other gals that work with me that have also been like, I like working for you, Marcie. And that's just, that makes me, that's what fires my jets up in the morning. You know, you got to look for like, where's that little diamond in the rough that really keeps you inspired?
Yeah.
You know, that's one of those things for sure. You inspire me. You always give me good feedback, and I love it.
We just love you guys. And I think that is, you know, sometimes, and I know that you're a woman of faith in your family. And I think there are certain things like that when you hit home and you question kind of, am I doing the right thing? I think those are God's answers to you saying, I'm doing the right thing. Because I helped one. And that's really at the end of the day is at the end of our time is, did I help one? Right?
Yeah.
That's a concept that we have on here is like, I could just help one become something that they didn't ever think they could do, then I freaking win.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So
it's a great feeling.
It's a good feeling.
You know, I love lifting people up. Yeah. I love giving compliments. Yeah. I always tell my managers, I'm like, you know what, find people doing something right. Mm-hmm. You know, even in life, when you're out, you know, your kids, your employees, you know, it's so easy to point out fault, and I feel like we're all just getting beat up all the time.
Yep.
Just not maybe just all the time, but like lately it feels like the world just feels heavier on us, on our shoulders. And if you can do something to lift someone a little bit, you know, just give them that little bit of praise, pay them a compliment, you know, show some grace. You know, we dine out, you know, my husband's like, wow, no one's come over. I'm like, babe, she's got the whole restaurant to herself.
Right.
One woman, this restaurant we went out to dinner on, I said, she's got the whole floor. You know, I'm sorry your water's not here, but shut up. You know,
it's true.
You know, hang in there. It's like true. Everybody's just doing their best. And I feel like if you bring your best and you do your best, and like you said, I just live a grateful life. I'm just grateful. People are like, oh, it's so hard. I'm like, it is so hard, but like, I could not be here. I could have not survived the last few years of business. It would have been very easy for my business to not have survived, you know.
Super simple.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of times I would have been like, oh man, this is just too much.
There was times, you know, and I think what we all went through this, so everyone's going to resonate with this. And, you know, when we were on lockdown on there and we could, you know, order them and pick them outside the door and those different things like that.
Yeah.
But there's times, and again, for those that didn't make it, you know, always in our prayers, but we were one of them. There were some times, some dark days on Fresh. Some dark days, and we
had to close.
There's
not enough staff. I mean,
not enough supplies.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like 1-2 punches, but you know, it's that tenacity. I'm going to go back to this. I think it's faith, knowing that God's going to kind of get us into that next spot in there. And that's just us, guys. If you don't have it, it's fine. I'm just saying this. I know that Marcie and I have that, and so it's just getting us to the next spot, to the next spot, to the next spot. And how do we weather this storm? And thank God, and I'm going to go back to it as well as you have built that culture with your employees that also kind of supports you. So it's not just you kind of making sure that those doors are open as your employees, because they want to come back and they're telling their friends and their families a certain thing. So you build that culture, can kind of get things a little bit way. If you take care of your people, you can get things through a different way. So that's why, as I said when going back, and I know that I'm talking a lot about it here, but going back is when you walk into a Fresh, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel why that culture is different from any other type of smoothie shop that you've ever been in before. It's not sterile. It's home when you get in there.
Thank you.
So,
I love that.
So it's really good. I'm going to let you fly. She has got this really cool thing going over in San Diego with her daughter Sophie today. What do you got going on over there?
Oh, varsity volleyball. We have a senior in the house. Last one going to be empty nesting, but we've got a tournament in San Diego, and so she's already on the bus on her way, and we're going to traverse down there and spend the night, and then hurry back for homecoming. So it's a packed weekend for the Madains.
Yeah, if you guys are hungry, I heard what she's had on her menu. Give me a call. I'll give you an address to her house. You're gonna eat like a king.
Perfect.
The one thing that Madains do not do is have a little food.
No.
It is all on all the time, and like you can literally.
We love to eat.
It is phenomenal. Will you do me a big favor?
Anything.
Will you come back and do this with me again? Just kind of a different thing. I know this is kind of a little bit different for you, but I just think that you've got a really cool story, and I would like to continue the story. Maybe it's a couple months from now, but I would love to have you back, because I think that you got something special in your heart, and I think more people need to hear about it.
I would be honored.
It would be so cool.
thanks for today. It actually is great to say the things you say out loud to remind you
Right.
like, why you're here, because you do have to get reminded
You
to
do.
stay on track, and it's, again, I'm just grateful to be here today and just kind of get back to my roots too, thinking about like, the culture. And it's just, I'm going to take what I sat with today and I'm going to just try and make it better.
That's good. So again, for you guys
you.
that are going, again, no, thank you, man. This is awesome, man. You actually inspired me a little bit today too, because I know what she's gone through, and it's, we talk about it briefly once in a while. When you kind of get to sit with a person, you kind of feel this stuff that's coming off her, and it's a lot of cool things that I want to emulate now moving forward. But again, for those of you who are coming into the desert, for those of you who live in the desert, do not forget to support small business. Marcie would say the same thing. Go out there. If there's a small business over a corporation business, support the small one.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
They got families out there. 4 locations. Tell me about the one. Tell me, there's one in Palm Springs. Where is that located?
So Palm Springs is on Sunrise and Ramon.
Okay.
And then Palm Desert is down on the El Paseo and Monterey.
Okay.
Over on the east side. And then we have La Quinta down at Washington and 111 by Trader Joe's, and then just right up in the Albertson Center in Rancho Mirage. Trying to get something over there in North Indio. So we're looking. We want to get East Valley a little bit.
By the Winco over there.
Yeah.
Type of area?
Yeah.
We're Golf Center Parkway. That's what
somewhere over there. Yeah, for sure.
It's a great area. It's actually I'm telling you, this desert's growing. There's a lot of things coming in this desert. For you think that this economy and housing market is getting beat up, you have to come to the desert, because you will be very surprised. There is a lot of activity. I was telling somebody today, I honestly think in the next 5 to 7 years, we're going to be the next Henderson.
I think it's bananas, and I think it's a gift.
It is a gift, and we're very, very special to kind of watch this. And I know some old schools people are like, I miss the old days and stuff like that, but I'm telling you, there's some cool things happening. So again, guys, really, really thank you so much for tuning into this. I just have you come into it. We're going to have her back, because for ladies, I think there's some great messages in here. If you're in the desert, again, be sure, whatever you do before you leave, stop at a fresh juice bar. Figure out what you want. If you don't know what you want, they will help you out. Guys, have a great, 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 great weekend. Most of all, stay safe. Actually, most of all, God bless, and we'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Take care of you guys.